let's analyze some of the things the president said today. I showed you earlier on the highlights of the president's speech and what are the implications for Nigerians. There have been clamor for a presidential address on the coronavirus. And today the president did give an address, a nationwide address. I have joining me tonight to talk on this and analyze these issues, Mr. Segun Showunmi, a spokesperson of the PDP presidential campaign. And from our Abuja studio is Mr. Ayoyalo, a member of the APC, a political economist and development expert. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for coming on tonight. Let me begin with you, Mr. Showunmi. Are you impressed tonight? A lot of people are asking that the president should give an address, but he came with a lot of information today. What's your take on it?
Well, first things first, I will say that better late than never. History is made by men and not the other way around. And whatever it is that the world is facing now with the COVID-19 pandemic is like unknown to any one of us, not even to the president by his age. The world has never been under this kind of grip that seems to be defining all the available protocols in health. Therefore, anybody who understands what leadership means will expect that you've seen other leaders in the world come forward to take charge, speak to their country, infuse hope. And when you listen to him today, the question you will ask those who were arguing that there was no need for him to speak is that who else could have delivered those lines that he delivered today, if not the president? Now, has the speech gone, has it done as much as we would have wanted? Obviously, half loaf is better than none. Sometimes you want leaders to, humanize situations. If there was a situation where someone was asking a question, maybe one or two, like you saw with other countries, that would have been quite well. But under the circumstances that his spokesman has always said, his style is not to talk. Perhaps we'll just say that, okay, not bad. Thank you, Mr. President, for finally listening to Nigeria and speaking to us. And then we can now begin to go into the details of what he has said. He has zeroed in on about 3 states, Lagos, Abuja, and Ogun. And yes, perhaps the idea to shut it down for 14 days makes sense, but it could have been done a little bit earlier too, and just to save it. The other thing that one sees is that he's not gone far enough in trying to give palliative, financial support to people who are going to obviously be uncomfortable. And for me personally, I think the soberness of this situation is that, our lack of really working to give ourselves a country that works for us, whatever may be thrown at us, is beginning to hit us in the face. It doesn't make sense for us to have been in democracy for the length of time we've been in democracy, and we don't have the kind of hospital space that we need to have. We don't have the capacity to be able to quickly snap in and take care of these diseases. Look,
you mean that we have bad leadership?
No. It means that
what you're saying?
What I'm saying is that I'm saying that somehow, as a people, we have not paid attention to the simple things. It doesn't make sense for a nation of 200 million people not to have enough hospital beds. Let's be clear on that. And humanity will constantly be contesting this space called Earth with bacteria, with diseases, all of them coming in at different times or the other. Therefore, nations must be ready. A country like Nigeria must understand that by its sheer size and the hope and expectation of the black race around the world, Nigeria must be the one that provides solution. You can see a bit of, some cases that you can applaud. For instance, there's no way you're not going to give it to the present governor of Lagos State, Babajide Sanwo-Olu. Why? Because you see him coming out. You see him hands-on. You see him coming up with new ideas and just basically throwing himself and being very proactive. You have to commend the Minister for Health as well. He's been very consistent with the briefings and all of that. But hello, no one can do or bring to the society what a president brings.
All right, let's take a breather. We still have Mr. Ayoyalo in our Abuja studio. We'll hear from him after the break. We'll take a break, everyone, and when we come back, more on the analysis of President Buhari's speech today and what he said the nation will do to those who are the poorest of the poor in our society in this trying time. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. President Muhammadu Buhari addressed the nation at 7 p.m. Nigerian time today and spoke about what needs to be done. He gave some orders on where to go. He shut down Lagos, Ogun State, and the FCT for at least 14 days. And he's giving some directives on how we can stay safe as a country. Tonight, we are analyzing some of the things that the president said. Mr. Segun Showumi, spokesperson of the PDP Presidential Campaign Organization, here in Lagos with me. And from our Abuja studio is Mr. Ayo Oyalo, a member of the APC, political economist and development expert. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for coming. Let me go to Mr. Oyalo in Abuja. A lot of people have been asking question, why has the president not addressed the nation? We've seen a lot of his counterparts across the world do this. He's done that today. Why do you think it took the president this long, since 27th of February 2020, when we had the first case of coronavirus in Nigeria?
Thank you, Sean. Good evening, Nigerians. Initially, I thought I was coming here as an economist to talk about the economic implication. I didn't really want to come here as a politician talking about APC or PDP. So let's put that aside. I'm not here as an APC. I'm here as a Nigerian, an economist who wants to talk about the effect of this problem on Nigerians. Now, I can't defend why the president speaks today or not, but I can only tell you that it will be better for him to understand the issues, to have the expert lead the discussions and the narrative, than for him to bumble and mumble and mess things up. Like we have seen some leaders who will come today and say, oh, it's not a problem, we are in control. Then tomorrow they have hundreds of cases, thousands of cases, or who will come and say, oh, everybody go and take chloroquine, it's not a problem. Now, President Buhari is a measured man. Typically, I think what happened is, he took his time to understand what the challenges are. He has put people in position to do the job. And he is not the one who will micromanage those that he thinks knows how to do the job. We just had the Minister of Health here, who has been briefing Nigerians at least once every day since we had this issue. So I think I will prefer the Minister of Health to be explaining the issues to Nigerians than for the president, who is not a medical doctor. He shouldn't just be talking because he wants to see himself on the television. The man is not campaigning for any election. He will let those who understand. The minister tells us, this is what is happening, this is what we are doing, this is what we are doing. Automatically, you know the minister is there at the behest and at the pleasure of the president. So if the minister talks, he is talking based on what the issues are, because he's a professional and the president has put him there, a round peg in a round hole. So all these, we like to make issues out of no issues. Oh, you should talk to people every day, so that he will say what? Because he will tell us the number of people that are sick, or he will tell us the new medicine that has been discovered. We don't need to make all these issue out of no issue. What needs to be done, he has done them. And what will still need to be done will be done. You know, yesterday there was a briefing by this same minister and the head of NCDC. I'm sure it was the collection of those and other briefings he has received that formed the bulk of what he spoke to Nigerians today about. So for me, I don't have an issue for him not to talk every day. I just have an issue if we don't have leadership. And for me, I have seen extreme leadership demonstrated. That is why we've been able to handle this much better than so many other countries that you think are even more developed and advanced than Nigeria.
Mr. Showumi, do you agree with the style of the president that in a presidential system of government, what Mr. Oyalawa said, do you agree?
You see, I've tried to reason along those who say that he doesn't need to talk. And I've tried to ask myself that, let's look for role models that the president could be benchmarked with. In modern times, who are we benchmarking him with? In the previous eras of the Nehrus and the Indian leader, the Gandhis, is this out here? Or even if you go back to the very ancient times of the Mohammedans, look, leaders, what they carry with them is hope. And when a situation is on the table, you can see your people are panicking. Everybody is coming up with their own invention and their own creativity on the issue. Information is being created by people. Fake news is going all over the place. And you think that if the president comes forward and says, Nigerians, this is what's going on, that's too much. Okay, now that the president has spoken, can you in all seriousness and all sincerity say that whatever it is that the president communicated today, albeit it is recorded, Any other person could have done that. Now, the other thing that my friend is not taking into consideration is that the presidency is one unit. Lucky for this particular team, they have a Professor Osinbajo there who is very good at humanizing conversations. He's not out there. So invariably, the number one man is not talking to the people. The number two person is not talking to his people. The aides are talking. It gives the impression that they have reduced the presidency to some kind of arrangement where a level 10 civil servant is now the president, who is not expected to bring any hope to the table. Look, the presidency and leadership in this modern time is not a melodrama that is like a thriller. The president
is the government selling hope from what you've heard from the SGF?
Well, I'll say this. I'll say this to you.
I mean, delegating responsibility.
I would say I'll say this to you. The only person that has been selling hope to Nigerians on this COVID-19 issue would have to be the governor of Lagos. The Minister of Health has been briefing the public. Other ministers of health in other countries are doing the same. But in all the other countries of the world, leadership is speaking to the people. Someone who is not the minister, is not the commissioner for health in Lagos. I'm not sure that too many Nigerians agree with you that they would have been a lot happier if Sanwo-Olu was just wassailing away or sleeping somewhere and then he said he's delegated. Right. The area of this the disconnect is this. People don't seem to understand that the mass of the people don't hate their leaders. The mass of the people only wish to have a tangential connect with their leaders, and that can only be carried by the leader themselves.
Let me get Mr. Oyalawo's reaction to this. Mr. Oyalawo, you heard Alhaji Atiku Abubakar also saying that 10,000 naira should be given as palliatives by this government. If you want to react to what Mr. Showumi said, also react to that.
You see, one of the major reasons why I've been avoiding coming on here is all this politicization of issues. These guys come here and everything is a joke to them and it hurts. Because seriously, I don't think we should make the issue whether he talks every day or not an issue. The man has addressed the core issue, he has gone back. The professionals are there handling their issues. If you want the president to talk every day, then you go and look for somebody who wants to campaign for an election. I don't think President Buhari is somebody who wants to get in the way of professionals doing their job. And I don't have any reaction to Mr. Atiku. He can say anything he wants to say. It is his right. But the president has made his own speech, and some of the things he will do is that those people who are on cash transfer, they will be paid their money for the next 3 months. And it will be paid upward. Let me quickly look at it here. And then for those of them for the people in the suburbs who are going to be affected within the suburbs of Abuja and Lagos, there will be some things done for them from the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, something like the relief package for them. And also the school feeding program, there will be a style that will be adopted so that these children will still get their food. So you see, this is something that comes out of planning. It's not just come to talk and talk.
Showumi,
we have seen one president that we all know.
Sorry, Mr. Oyalawo. Mr. Showumi, we have 30 seconds to go.
I think that my friend probably doesn't even understand that the whole essence of democracy is that there will be a man who's in charge, who is ruling, and there will be a leader of opposition. And it is the duty and responsibility of the leader of opposition, as in the case of Atiku Abubakar, to produce and bring ideas to the fore. And if you recall, very, very, very quickly, one of the first things that Atiku Abubakar said was that shut down the borders so that nobody can fly in. They didn't listen on time. We're dealing with that now. And we're not even here to start picking holes in there or bringing up their mistake, because we really understand that right now we need to unite the country behind the president so that we all can go solve this problem. But anyone who says that, he doesn't have to talk,
we're out of time.
Doesn't mean it.
Mr. Showumi, thank you for coming tonight. And Mr. Oyalawo, thank you so much for your time tonight. Appreciate it. But that's our show for tonight, everyone. Many thanks for watching. I'm Sean Okimale. Bye-bye.